Hello, high levelers. In this video, what I want to do is help sort of demystify and help people understand how email setup in the GoHighlevel platform works and how you need to begin thinking about getting your email set up. Now, what I'm talking about the step before you can actually start sending out email campaigns. I'm talking about you beginning the process, you're joining Highlevel, you get your new business domain, maybe you already have a domain, and now you want to start configuring the email system inside of Highlevel so you can begin sending and receiving emails inside of the platform and how that works in conjunction with maybe your own primary email domain that you use for your business. So what I want to do is kind of hop in here and help you understand, because sometimes, again, this is very confusing for people to wrap their head around because it's slightly different, but hopefully by the end of this video, you'll understand how to get your email set up, how it works from an agency and from a sub account, and then how it works. So let's kind of hop in and get started. Okay, so right now we have to begin in the GoHighlevel platform with the agency view. So inside of the agency view, from the agency level, you need to get a dedicated email domain set up. Now, years and years ago, you used to have to configure your email domains and everything else directly with Twilio. Or I'm sorry, not with Twilio, with Mailgun. Forgive me. But once you did that, that began to be rather complicated because it required technical setup that most people just didn't know. Well, probably about a year to 2 years ago, the Highlevel said, hey, let us help you out. Let us create an interface between the Mailgun system that we're using on the back end that really sends all these emails out and the user interface that people see inside of the GoHighlevel platform. Hence, they came up with the term LC email. Again, lead connector email system. So that is what, if you choose to use, is going to be much easier for you to get set up and begin working inside of the GoHighlevel platform. The engineers and tech people really made it easy to get these domains set up. And then once you do, they configure all the complicated backend stuff and things like that. Now, another complicated thing that used to happen is getting what they call DNS records set up. DNS, you don't need to know what that means or stands for, but these are records that you need to put out on your domain provider to let other mail servers know in the world where to send your mail to. They're called MX records. So inside of the DNS system, you have to create records, and the MX is typically for mail exchange. This is what you'd have to create. And of course, if I'm getting lost with people already, you can already understand how complicated this could be. So Highlevel has made this very easy. So they've made it to where if you ever have your domains with Google, GoDaddy, or Cloudflare, those three providers. Now, Highlevel is becoming a domain purchaser. A different video about that one. But if you also have the domain inside of Highlevel, this will also work as well. But your records will automatically be created for you, making it much easier. If you don't have any one of those four providers, then you will have to manually configure your mail records and so forth. And there is a procedure on how to do that, and we'll take a look at it. But for right now, let's I want to give you an understanding of how that kind of system works. Now, here's the one thing that people really find difficult to explain. Inside of the Highlevel platform, you need to create a domain. It could be a domain or it could be a subdomain where all the emails come in and out of Highlevel directly. Now, that kind of makes sense and really simplified. It just makes sense that that's the way it would work. But what happens if this is your primary business domain? Like, we're going to take a look at a demo company here in just a minute. But if you ever set up a company and you have a root domain, the company we're going to take a look at is digiglobalagency.com. It is sort of one of my demo accounts that I use for demonstration purposes. But if you want to have people send emails, like me being Ray, maybe I would have Ray at digiglobalagency.com. Well, that domain, if it's configured inside of Highlevel, I will not be able to sit back and have personal emails come in and out of the Highlevel platform. So this is why Highlevel recommends that you create subdomains of your primary domain if that's what you want to utilize. So if I wanted to have an email address like ray at digiglobalagency.com or whatever your domain is, and I wanted to have that hosted like at Microsoft Office 365, or maybe I use Google Workplace, or there's other providers out there. These are companies that actually host your email. So you can configure Outlook, you can configure your Mac mail client or whatever the mail client is on Windows PCs. You can configure that to connect up to Google or Microsoft to pull your mail down and to be able to get mail and send mail directly through their system. The Highlevel platform does not have anything like that, where you can send and get your mail from Highlevel and so forth using a mail client. That's not the way the GoHighlevel platform works. So all the emails that get sent and sent back into Highlevel all go in the conversation area for that particular contact. You probably went in and seen it, where you've got email, you can check all the communications, all the emails that were sent, and then any of the replies for that email goes right back into the same conversation area. This is why inside of the GoHighlevel platform, you have to have a dedicated domain. And again, it could be a root domain, it could be a subdomain, but please be careful in helping understand how you want to have the email flow inside of the GoHighlevel platform, because it can interfere with your primary business domain. And if that happens, it could really be a pain. So you need to plan this out. Whatever your domain that you want to get emails that you do business, maybe you have a business card and you hand this out to people, or you publish it on your website, social media, things like that. That domain has to be configured not in Highlevel, somewhere else. Google, Microsoft, things like that are examples of where you can host the email domain, and you'll have to pay for that. Typically, it's somewhere between $12 and $14 per user per month. It's what you have to pay for that particular service, and you get storage of all your emails and blah, blah, blah. Now, the domain inside of Highlevel is strictly used for sending emails and then receiving emails back from that particular domain. Okay, that's what it's there for. So when you do email campaigns, when you go into your CRM system and you choose people and you say, send these people an email, or if you're using anything in a workflow, that dedicated email domain inside of that sub account is what's going to be used to send the email out and to retrieve the email back in. But again, that email you cannot access with an email client. You can only see that email inside of the conversations area, inside the contact record. So I hope that makes sense. So right now, that's one of the biggest things that I've seen, at least the people that 30-day link below where you get 30-day free trial in the description of this particular video. Please look toward getting signed up under my account. I do offer a ton of bonuses and coaching and so forth to help get you set up. So that was my little plug. So right now, what I want to show you is how you get these email domains set up from the agency down, and then how does the email typically flow. So let's take a look here inside of the agency account. We're going to go to settings. We're going to go to email services. Now notice here, I've already got an email set up for my particular agency. This is a dedicated domain that I've got set up here, and I did this on purpose. Now, one of the things I want to make sure that you understand is that you need to set up a sort of a default domain for your agency. Now, when you do that, every sub account in your agency that does not have a dedicated domain configured for it will use this agency dedicated domain as the outbound domain name. So I just want to make sure that you got that. Anybody that you don't go in when you onboard a new client, if you do not go in and configure a default domain for their email services, they will use whatever you have configured at the agency level. That's what email will go out whenever they send emails out. And as you can understand, that could probably be pretty confusing, because what happens is that that email goes out, and then when it comes back in, or if they look at it, they're like, what is this going on here? This domain doesn't even match the business I'm doing business with, and it could be discerning. So right now, one of your clear onboarding steps when you're ever onboarding a client is to configure a dedicated email domain and get that configured for that sub account. That's just my warning on that one. Now, I put this on here because I specifically wanted to make sure I put a do not reply on the domain. So, if this is the case, I don't want people to reply, because, this right here it will not be coming back into their conversations area. That's the problem, is that it for the subdomain. So this right here is what you need to be paying attention. Using a subdomain with Mailgun like MG, or my domain, or email, or info, or something like that at mydomain.com. Using a subdomain, you'll be able to send emails from the root domain. So this right here, for instance, if you had mydomain.com is your primary business domain, then that domain could be configured to get mail at Google or Microsoft, like I said before. But when you configure a subdomain dot your primary domain, which is the recommended best practice, then that subdomain, when people send it to, whatever that the email is configured at mg.mydomain.com, then that email comes directly back into Highlevel and then shows up in the conversations area. So that's kind of why I wanted to sit back and explain this to you. And then to come down here and look at this as well. Email warming process. A lot of people don't understand when you create your email address in here, you get a dedicated email domain. If you have not warmed that domain up, then it's potentially going to be a problem when you send outbound emails that thing is going to go into spam, because it says right here, when you start sending through a dedicated domain, inbox providers, these are the major SMTP servers that route mail across the whole world, calculate your domain's sending reputation, which if you haven't sent anything, you have none. So they say in the first 2 to 4 weeks, limit sending your emails to only engaged recipients with a strong sending reputation. Now, the warming up process is something that you don't necessarily have to do inside of Highlevel. As a matter of fact, one of the things I've done, I actually have a whole other video over cold email outreach. If that's something that you guys want to do, I have a whole snapshot regarding that, and you can take a look. That link is in the description below as well. But right now, I actually recommend a company called Instantly, and I'm popping over to show you this one here. This is what I like to use myself whenever I want to configure a domain and warm a domain up. Now, what does that mean? Instantly is a service that once you put your domain, you're going to register your domain with them, and they're going to start sending just emails out. They kind of have a really cool system. They're going to send an email out to another email address that in turn will sit back and respond back into your domain, and all of it's maintained within Instantly. But all this is doing is showing these worldwide SMTP servers that route mail that you are a friendly customer, and the SMTP servers start understanding that your domain is now, it builds that reputation for sending, so that in the beginning, hopefully when you warm things up for say 2 to 4 weeks, spend time warming that up, by the 4-week period, then you can sit back and start using and use it for inside of Highlevel without having to go to spam. Oh, real quick, if you do want to go here, they commitments. It's like I use this one like $30 a month, unlimited email accounts, unlimited email warm up, things like that. So you can. This is a great service. There are other ones out there, but I at least want to give you one. So right now, these are just some of the things that Highlevel recommends. Creating a subdomain. Now, I want to ask you this because somebody actually brought this to my attention on one of my strategy calls regarding that I have with people. So people say, does it have to be a subdomain? Okay, the answer is no. If you want to buy a root domain, meaning the mydomain.com, that's a root domain, or digiglobalagency.com, that is the root domain for this. You can use that root domain inside of your dedicated email domain. You can use that if you want to, as long as you understand that that domain is going to be specifically used for sending and receiving emails. Then you don't need to create a subdomain. You can use just a root domain when you configure a dedicated email domain. So that right there is just something that I want to make sure that you're aware of. Now, there's some other things I want to sit back and make sure you know as well, and that's inside of the settings for sub accounts. Right now, one of the things that really becomes a problem is making sure that the email address that you have or you bring in for a particular contact is valid. Now, there's a lot of other services out there. If you look here on the, and this is, by the way, under your settings and business profile, you can come underneath here and say verify email address when first email is sent to a new contact. So if you do that, now Highlevel, before it will send an email out, it'll use the verification process to go out and verify that that email is valid and working. And if it's not valid, not working, it will not send it out. So therefore, it will not be held against you with your sending reputation. And then you can kind of understand what would happen from that. Now, I do want to simply let you know, doing this verified email address, there is a charge for this. So there are charges inside of the Highlevel platform. Let me see. Yeah. They will verify the email address. The standard price is $0.025 per verification. So that is not even, that's like 1/4 of 1 cent. So you will need 4 of these verifications to be 1 penny. So you see what I mean? It's very minor. very small. Turn this on when you do this, and then that way all of your email addresses will be verified. And you should do this for all of your clients as well, because if your clients are sending out emails, you want to make sure that their sending reputation is good and so forth. So I just really want to create this quick video to kind of help you understand the differences between outside root domain business emails that you get with mail clients and how the email systems work and need to be configured inside the GoHighlevel platform. Guys, thanks so much for hanging in there. But again, if you have not signed up for the GoHighlevel platform, I have a 30-day free link in the description below. I also, if you're interested in learning more about how to make money using the GoHighlevel platform, I do have a SaaS Jumpstart course. It's a free course. Link in the description below. And if you have not subscribed, hook a brother up. Subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of good information here, and I release videos every single week here. Thank you so much here, and by all means, leave me a like, leave me a comment. YouTube absolutely loves it when the users engage with the videos, and it makes my videos go higher, giving me a little bit more reach and so forth. Guys, thanks so much for hanging in there with me, and have a great day. Bye-bye.